Hello, I know it's been a long time since I've done a video. I'm a little rusty at this, but I wanted to come on and do another attempt to try to do a natural quick makeup. I'm not very good at this. I will admit it. I am always overdoing my makeup and it keeps getting darker and darker. So I'm gonna give another attempt to try to do like a quick makeup for somebody who doesn't have a lot of high maintenance as far as makeup goes. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I wash my face and I use the 3-in-1 cleanser. I use normal to dry because it doesn't leave me feeling dry. And then I used my moisturizer. I use the evening moisturizer even in the day just because the winter air is starting to kick in and I want to stay really hydrated. I really like staying hydrated. I also use some Climate Control, which has that hyaluronic acid and helps retain some of the water, which I really need here. If you're like me and you have if you have dark circles, that's one thing. Dark circles are easy to cover, a little bit concealer, fine. I have like dark circles, but they're more from a shadow created here from some fat pockets from little bags. These fat pockets happen as you get older and the skin gets thinner here. And so you get these little fat pockets and then you get these shadows. So they're not that easy to cover because if you put concealer on the fat pocket itself, it's going to make your bag's shadow even bigger. So you really have to be careful with this look here and figure out if you have dark circles, which are easy to cover because you just cover the whole thing, or if you have shadows. And if you have shadows there, what you want to do is reduce the puffiness of those bags. One way to do that would be something cold on your eyes before you do your makeup, or at nighttime, put some cold things under there. And really good moisturizer under here. Just pat it under here because that will hydrate this part and fill it out a little bit. So I use something with hyaluronic acid and pat it right under here and let it fill out and dry before you put your makeup on. Now, if you're not into makeup, but this is why it's hard for me because I'm really into makeup, you want to use something like, I'm running out as you can tell, the Color Correcting Tinted Moisturizer. It's not cakey, it doubles as a moisturizer, and I use a medium. It comes in an array of colors, but it's very forgiving, so it doesn't have to be an exact match, just like light, medium, dark, and dark. This is medium. I could probably go a shade darker. Get this up here. Rub it in. If you want to be fancy, you can use your little sponge or a brush, whatever you want. I use one of these for foundation and I just bounce it in. But since this is kind of like a moisturizer right now, I'm doubling it and just rubbing it in like it would be a moisturizer. Now, if you do use one of these or buy yourself one of these, I know a few people didn't know this. They're supposed to be wet. You get it wet and they're gonna like triple in size. Then you kind of like squeeze it out with a towel and bounce it like this. And it keeps your fingers from getting all icky and it really does a great job of blending it. Now, I don't know if you can tell, but just from that alone, it evened out the skin tone a lot. Now, the reason I use the Senegence one, you can use any tinted moisturizer or foundation. The reason I use the Senegence ones are because a few things. I've switched around. I've tried Stila, I've tried Maybelline, I'm a makeup junkie. I still try other brands. And even though some of them work, they're all really cakey looking, I noticed. And they rub off a lot more than the Senegence. And the main thing I noticed is my skin started looking kind of old and dry and patchy. The Senegence ones have the Senaplex complex in it. So one, it has Senishield, which means it's going to protect your face from the sun and not with a chemical. So it doesn't have a chemical to protect your face from the sun, but it has like more of a t-shirt. It's a mechanical sunscreen. So it's going to cover your face from the sun without a chemical. So that's great because I never put sunscreen on it other than that. 2, it has the Senaplex complex, which has a cellular renewal system basically. Your cells slow down as they regenerate. This speeds up the cell regeneration by a lot. So you're going to be getting new skin faster, and which helps when you have dull, older skin, like me. I'm 41 now. I just turned 41. So let's go ahead and cover some of these. Hold on one second. Gotta reach in here. I lost it. It fell in my bag. Okay, so here is some concealer if you need to go next level. Now this is enough for some people. I am just gonna try because I still have these patches from hormones, from nursing and stuff. I get these patches that won't go away till I'm done nursing. And I'm gonna put them on those dark patches and on very carefully. Now, if you just have under eye bags, you put it right under here, you dot it under and you blend it super easy. But mine, I get a little mirror. It's a little more tricky. I gotta get it right in the right places. And I'll show you what I mean. So if you have bags from shadows, you're gonna wanna take a thin brush and you're gonna wanna not get it on the fat pocket, but only on the parts that are dark. And not in here because that's my little fat pocket. So I'm just gonna dab it. Now this is the SeneGence Color Correcting Concealer. And the reason it's color correcting is a lot of times on makeup tutorials or on professional makeup, you'll see they use a one color corrector, like a orange or yellow or blue to correct the color, and then your concealer over it. We're cutting out time here, we're cutting that out. And not only that, another reason I keep going back to this one is, again, the anti-aging. I just noticed my skin looks better, I look younger, my skin looks fresher and newer when I use these. And it's one of those subtle things that happens over a few weeks. I noticed when I use a different brand, and I've used tons of other brands, I swear, I'm not lying to you. I tried Bye Bye It's, we got NARS, Maybelline, I try them all. I literally try them all. These have that Cineplex complex in it, which protects you from the sun, which is great under here, and gives you that cellular renewal, which you desperately need under here. So I find my skin, and I'm 41, and you can see from using this over the last 5 years or 4 years I've been doing this, I don't want to like say anything, but I don't really have any wrinkles. Like I have one little one right here, but for the most part, I feel like the Cineplex Renewal has been doing a great job. Yeah, keeping my skin young looking. So, all right, so that's enough for a lot of people. That was just the color correcting tinted moisturizer and some concealer. Pretty easy, right? Now, I want to show you how we would do this with some bronzer, if I can find my bronzer. Let's see. All right, well, I lost my bronzer. I usually use a bronzer. I should have been more organized before I started this, sorry. Told you it's been a while. So I usually use a bronzer that is in a little tube like this. I can't find that at the moment. The reason I use theirs is because it stays on and doesn't rub off. I find powders tend to come off. But for now, like I said, I try other brands all the time. I got bronzing butter by some kind of a physician formula, and my upper end, the Anastasia. So I'll just grab my Anastasia for now. But normally I would use this on a long day when I don't want it to come off. This is good for a short period. So I'm just gonna, now when you're getting older, like I'm kind of gearing this towards the 40 plus crowd, or people who feel like they've aged a lot over quarantine. And what I'm gonna do is just take the tiniest bit and raise up right in here. I'm not doing this, I'm just kind of raising it up here and giving a little bit of dimension where the sun would hit you. Like that. You see it? It's very subtle, not heavy, right there. All right, easy enough, right? If you want to add a blush too, you absolutely can. When you do use the bronzer from our company or the blush, you will be using, let's see, let's grab something else here. Let's grab this one. I'll use the really drugstore Milani. And what you'll do is the blush will go right above that, not in there, but right above it. And you notice the theme here is I'm bringing things up. I want things up, okay? So far, very subtle, very fast. And then the last step, I'm gonna use my pearlizer. This is the Pearlizer foundation. It's very shiny and just need a touch. If you don't have that and you want to use something else, you can use any kind of highlighter. It's called like a pearlizer highlighter. And I'm gonna, again, go up here. Now, again, this part is still optional. I'm gonna go right here dark right there, okay? This is still optional, but I'm just showing you, and you can stop at any point. You could just stop at the color correcting tinted moisturizer. But I'm just gonna show you how it gives everything a little bit of a lift. I'm giving myself a makeup facelift here. I'm gonna put on my eyebrow bones, just the leftovers. Right there, you see that little highlight? And you see the little highlight right there? And you see it right here. So what I just did was give myself a facelift and an even fit skin tone. Now you could take that same bronzer, and this is where I really like to use my bronzer, and I wish I had it here, I don't know where it went, is because this one won't stay on all day and it will come off really quickly. But if you use the Senegence one, and I wish I could find it, you know what? I don't even want to use this on my eyes because it will come off so quickly, but I'm going to use one of our Shadow Senses. This one's kind of the color of the bronzer anyway. So I'm going to use this. And the reason I like these is because they stay on. They got the anti-aging. Anti-aging is really important around my eyes. Because as you get older, again, I'm talking about older, this part of your lid falls. You lose lid space and it makes you look tired. They start to fall. And if you do it wrong, you make it even heavier. So what you want to do is put your shadow or your bronzer, like again, you get in a small brush, and you kind of want to do it, let me see it, right on that fold above it, not in the crease, because I'm going to make the illusion that my crease, like I said, you could do this with your bronzer really lightly. This is the color of my bronzer. This is the Shadow Sense. With lighter skin than me, you'll probably want to use this with Mocha Java or Pink Posy Shadow Sense. And it's got that anti-aging, which is great. And I'm just going to take a small brush right here. I probably did that too dark for being natural. Let me blush it out. But you're going to see right now, blending is important. And I don't want to bring any shadow below this line here from your eye to your eyebrow, you know. You want to keep this facelift look going. So you can see right here, I made this area here kind of go in, and that's the puffy part that I don't want to look big. So I'm going to make this part dark right here. See that puffy part? I'm hoping you can see it here, right here. See right here where it's all light? I'm trying to make my eye look less, I think they call it hooded. That's the hooded eye. And the hooded eyes get more pronounced as you get older. So this eye already, you can see, looks a little bit, there you go. See? Okay, maybe I'll finish that other eye first so you can see the full difference. So you could leave it at this actually if you're doing the light look. You can just kind of blend it out and just, it gives you enough to look a little bit lifted actually. Again, you could stop here, or you could take your pearlizer again or another Shadow Sense and just highlight. Again, an unnecessary part, but I'm just showing you anyway because I don't know when to stop. I warned you. And this is just going to brighten your eye a little bit. See it? Nice, right? Again, you could do that over here a little bit if you have small lids. My hooded lids are getting bigger and bigger, so I kind of like to make my lid a little bit bigger with a little bit of highlight as well. There we go. Another reason other than the anti-aging, these are great, is you don't get that fallout with most shadows. When you have a powder shadow, it's going to tend to not only not stay on all day, but it tends to, when you're putting it on, and if you're not good at makeup, it's going to fall out here, which makes your bags worse. So you don't want that. Okay. How does that look? Now, honestly, once you get the hang of this, this could be done really fast, especially when you're not talking and explaining it all. So let me go ahead and do the other eye really fast. I'm just going to take this and put it on right here. Sorry, it's hard to do in the camera. Okay, very little goes a long way with the Shadow Sense. And I'm just going to take it and put it on the fatty part of the hood to push it in. See how that lifted that eye up? I'm just going to blend it out because you really want to blend. There you go. Now, there we go. Then, let's Let's see. Still trying to keep this light, keep it light. I could do another tutorial later to make it darker. I'm trying to keep this light here. I'm terrible at keeping it light. I'm going to take that same Shadow Sense, whether, like I said, if you're using Mocha Java color, Pink Posy, and just put a little bit on the lower lash line. I just dipped my brush on the wand just a little bit because I need so little bit. I just dipped it here, and I'm just kind of, you got to make the funny face like that, otherwise it doesn't work. And I'm going to bring it up this line. See that line? You see how soft my skin is there? That's why you're being careful, because that's where wrinkles happen. Yeah. Let's see. And this one's Candlelight. This one's not shimmery. I used a shimmery one here. Oh, I forgot to do that one on this side. Gotta do it on this side. Right there. I'm just gonna pat it in here. And where's my brush? I think I did a little more on that side. There we go. And that brightens the eye up. Okay. Okay. Again, unnecessary right now, but just to show you, in case you do have trouble with this, you can always take a light color and blend it upwards to really give yourself that facelift look. Right. And where's my blender? I'm really working hard on just really making myself look not as tired as I am right now. So that just gave it a little harder line up there. Is what I'm going for. All right. I know a lot of people like this dewy look. I personally don't like to look this dewy, even though it looks nice, healthy. And so if this bothers you, just use a good setting powder to set the whole look. I prefer to look a little bit matte because I will be in some pictures later today and I don't want to look too shiny. So there. All right. Another thing you can do, again, this part's optional. The main part that was not optional is the color correcting tinted moisturizer and the bronzer, okay? Or shadow bronzer. That's like the main part. Those are the two things you would definitely need. The concealer is if you have more problems than you feel that the tinted moisturizer can handle on its own. Everything else has been kind of optional so far. So what I like to do here is I take a dark shadow, like rustic brown, because I have dark eyebrows, but you can use Mocha Java if you have blind eyebrows, and put it on a small angled brush like this. Hang on, I'm gonna close it up. And the reason I do this, again, not because it's necessary, but if I really bring the eyebrows upright, it's going to help with that facelift because it's that same angle we're going for to bring everything upwards. Like I said, it's subtle, but let's show you the two sides, you'll see. It's subtle, but you can see right away, it lifts that eye up. So that definitely helps in a subtle way that doesn't take up too much time. Now, this is important to use Shadow Sense for because you do not want to use eyeshadow or something else from the drugstore with this because this you do not want running. You do not want it running, coming off when you sweat. Everything from SeneGence I have tested and it stays on. I was in like a Fit for Mom group and I wore my makeup there and it stays on. When I sweat, oh my God, it was dripping. It all stayed in place. And I don't normally wear makeup to work out. I don't normally work out, to be honest. But I don't normally wear makeup to work out. But I did just to test it out and it stayed. Nothing dripped. Everything stayed. And you do not want stuff dripping, falling off your face while you're working out. So I'm just going to put a little bit of wax here to hold them up because I want these to stay up. I tend to have long brows and I want them to stay up here. Okay. Another thing people will really like is, okay, if you don't mind, you don't have to do this part, but I'm going to do it because I feel like I need it. I'm going to take that same brown shadow, okay? And a small angled brush. And the reason, again, I do this is because I want it to stay on. Let me just show you what I mean here. So I got some on here when I was testing the color. Look at this. It stays on. It's great. This stuff's great. Okay, so anyway, I'm going to take this brown. And you don't have to do this again. This is just another optional thing. But I'm looking at myself thinking, this doesn't look like me because I normally wear a little bit of... Now, when you put on eyeliner and you have very little lid space and heavy lids, you do not want to take up any lid space. So I'm just going to go like underneath kind of on the lash line to darken the lash line over here without taking up any lid space. So right here and here, I don't know if you could see. I'm going to darken the lash line and extend my eye just a little bit longer than it does to give it the appearance of a longer eye. And darken the lash line just a touch. And this is really hard for me to do because I'm blind in one eye, so. And I'm going to darken the lash line underneath as well. Again, you don't need to do it, but I'm just going on the lash line itself. See that? That looks better like me. I need that. And I'm using the rustic brown. You can use black onyx, which I use often, but right now for this natural look, which is turning quickly, not natural, I'm sorry. I'm going to... Oh, baby's calling me. The baby's calling. Yeah. Bring it out. Again, I didn't take any lid space. If you take any lid space, those hoods are going to look even bigger and you'll look like you have no lids at all, and then you'll look really tired. So I really just want to keep it on the lash line if you have any liner. If you don't feel comfortable using this, we do have a new SeneGence pencil, which glides on beautifully and it works amazing. I love it. It stays on. I'm just comfortable with this brush. Okay. But yeah, it does, if you want to use it, like I do use it on the waterline because it's one of the few that stay on. And if you're comfortable with the pencil, I highly suggest the SeneGence pencil. It comes in black, brown, brown. I should have used the lighter brown for this, but kind of rushing through. Last, I use the SeneGence, of course, Lash Sense. This is the old school one. There's a newer one with the Lash Builder. This, again, is going to work in that angle which we want. You can curl your lashes if you want. I usually don't have time for that. I should. But I'm just going to put on a couple layers. Ooh, I got some mascara right here. There we go. And that's going to help do that lifting. So that's that lifting. Let me just wipe my lips off. It's quickly exfoliating my lips. You can use a nice tinted gloss, which would just be perfect. However, I'm going to have a cup of coffee after this, and this will come right off. So I'm going to put on a nice light color. I really don't like to use nice light colors. This is so hard for me to make my lips just look a little less like I got like the blood drink out of me. Okay, so let's just use the discontinued color for me, girlfriend. If you're lighter skinned than me, you might want like a Praline Rose for this, or Goddess, or Aussie Rose. I'm going to use Girlfriend. Make sure you really, really shake it up. And you're going to see this is just going to brighten it up a little bit. This is almost the exact color of my lips, actually. But at least it will stay on and not come off on my coffee cup. I feel like giving it one more color because it's really, really... no, we're going light. We're going light. We're going light. Stick with it. Oh, it's so light. No, it's not so light. I'm just used to being dark. All right. There you go. Okay, you do 3 layers of that. Let it dry. Don't crowd your lips together. Let it dry. Let me just put on, I did 2 layers, didn't I? I did 2 thick layers because I'm being impatient. I'll just put on a colored gloss over it to set it. Now that it's dry. There you go, much better. Now the colored gloss does come off, like gloss will come off, but the color, here to say, so you see the gloss, but the color is not going to go anywhere all day. And let's see, we don't need to change out of pajamas today for any reason, so I'm going to stick with the pajamas, just add my necklace. Let's see. Ooh, gotta dye my hair gray, and that is my natural look. It's not very natural, but like I said, you could skip the eyeliner, and you can skip a lot of it, actually. The main parts of this, if you were just wanted to do a quick thing, and literally I could do this in 5 minutes without talking and explaining everything, but if you just want to throw on the color correcting tinted moisturizer, and then some concealer if you feel you need it, and use a nice bronzer to lift everything. If you feel like you need a little blush above that, and use the same bronzer or a Shadow Sense to help lift that eye. Mascara, and that's pretty much it. Everything else is just, you know, kind of helping. The pearlizer helps. You can see the highlights pulling everything up here. The brows are pulling everything up. Everything else is kind of just extras. But it's, you can add and build depending on the kind of day you're having and how much time you have to get ready. And that's it. I hope that was helpful. Again, this is still a little darker than I was trying to do for you guys, but at least you can kind of see. It's hard to do in the camera. I'm trying to look in the mirror at the same time. But hopefully you get the idea, and hopefully it was helpful. Thank you. Have a nice weekend.